I want to ask you a quick question. What makes writing worth reading? Or to ask this from another angle, why do people read in the first place? The answer to that question should have a massive impact on how you go about writing. Because unless you're writing simply for self-expression, the success of everything we write really comes down to how it's received by the reader. And so in today's episode, what I want to do is I want to dig into the three main reasons that people read. Virtually everything you'll write, whether as a freelancer or a business owner, is going to fall into one of these three categories. So we're going to cover each of those categories and also break down some specifics and examples in each one. If you want to write more effectively by understanding what your readers are looking for, don't go anywhere. This episode is sponsored by Copy AI, a toolkit that helps writers, marketers, and freelancers skip writer's block completely and quickly create first draft copy for themselves and their clients. If you'd like to get a 30-day free trial, head on over to copy.ai/Jacob. So first and foremost, the simplest reason that people read is to be entertained. Think about everything you might read in a given day, whether it's on social media, whether it's on some of your favorite websites, whether it's just browsing and doom scrolling, whatever the medium. If you were to take everything that you read in a given day and break it down, you'd find that probably 75% of it falls into this category of entertainment. A huge chunk of this content is going to be designed simply to grab your interest for a short temporary period, and you are reading it purely to be entertained for that brief window. In other cases, the content may have another purpose, but it uses entertainment value to catch your interest, to catch your attention. So whether the goal is simply to entertain or it uses entertainment as a function, entertainment is really the primary reason that we read a lot of the content that we read. So with that said, what are some of the things that make writing entertaining to read? I think the first and simplest one is just curiosity. It's one of the reasons that the headline that you write for a lot of content can be the most important piece of the writing. Here's the hidden reason for that, or here's the secret about this that you never knew. There's a lot of ways that people pull at our curiosity in order to entertain us, in order to get us to come and visit their space, to read their content. And while many of the times that we'll encounter curiosity will be connected to things we don't like clickbait or maybe a really hard sell sales page, that doesn't mean that we can't use curiosity in writing things that people will actually like, that will actually provide value, that will actually be a benefit to the reader. Any place that you can tap into some curiosity is going to make the reading experience more entertaining. Another way that people entertain is through humor. Satire, memes, humorous commentary, jokes, whatever. Humor is something that entertains readers. And while we won't typically be writing solely for the purpose of humor and of creating comedy for the reader, it's one of the best tools that you can incorporate into the writing that you're already doing or the writing you will do down the road. There may be some situations where humor is inappropriate for the subject matter, but by and large, adding a little bit of humor into almost any form of writing you're doing is going to make it a better experience for the reader. It's going to make it a little more entertaining, possibly break up some drier stuff that you have to get through in the writing, and just overall it's an incredible way to make your writing more entertaining across the board. Obviously there's a ton more ways to entertain through writing, but the last one that we'll cover for the purpose of this episode is storytelling. Everybody loves a good story. Storytelling is in many ways the core driver of human interaction around the globe. So any place that you can incorporate storytelling into your writing is going to make it a more entertaining and a more captivating experience. Let's move on to number two. The next reason that readers read is to be informed, and more specifically to be informed about something relevant to them or relevant to their interests. People spend a lot of time reading things to acquire information that they want. News accounts for a massive portion of the reading that we do on a daily basis. It's a $1.5 trillion global market, and it's bigger than almost any other category that we could talk about. And the core reason people read the news is to stay informed, is to be informed about things happening that are relevant to them, local to them, connected to industries or events that they care about. So as you're writing, ask yourself, what information am I providing to the reader? What information could I be providing to the reader? How can I do a better job of highlighting the key things that the reader is wanting to be informed about? This is going to enhance the value of your writing and make it a better experience for the reader. When you're going through the writing process, it's really easy to lose sight of the value of some of this key information that is no longer new to you. You've seen it over and over. You've been cognizant of it since the beginning of the draft. And so you might sort of lose sight of the reality that this is new information to the reader, and presenting that new information to the reader is actually a big part of the value of your piece. So it's important to always remember to highlight that key information and make sure that it's easy to find, that it's obvious, that you aren't skimping on the actual information itself. If someone is coming to your article to be informed, or if you can simply help inform them along the way, taking the time to do that as well as possible is going to enhance the value of your writing and provide a better experience for the reader. In addition to acquiring just basic information, readers will also read a piece of writing to learn about an experience that they want to have. One of the most common things that you probably read on a weekly, if not daily basis, is reviews. If you're thinking about going to a restaurant, thinking about ordering a product, you will likely look through and read the reviews of people who have experienced that restaurant or experienced that product in order to inform yourself about what that experience is like, and help you gauge whether or not you really want to invest in having that experience yourself. And even if you aren't writing a review, you can still use this concept to create better writing and provide a better experience to the reader. You can look to incorporate firsthand experience wherever possible. You can bring in experts or people who have experienced something that you're talking about, even if you haven't yourself. You can even make a point of going out and experiencing the thing that you're going to write about, or obtaining some form of relevant experience to a piece of writing that you're working on in order to enhance the overall quality of the piece. This is also a great way to plan out topics that will command a lot of attention. Ask yourself, what is something that a lot of people want to experience or want to try, but most won't? Either it's difficult, just requires a lot of planning, maybe it's expensive, whatever it is. If you can think through something that most people aren't actually going to do, but they're curious about, or they want to try it, or they would be interested in hearing about someone else's experience in doing it, that can be a great source of incredibly compelling topics that will perform well as content for content marketing or whatever the purposes of your writing. So again, whether we're sharing simple information or informing readers about experiences they'd like to have, providing relevant information to the reader is another way that we can enhance the reading experience and give readers what they're looking for. The third biggest reason that people read writing is because it helps them do something. It goes beyond the page, goes beyond the immediate reading experience, and actually translates into some form of growth or additional capability. The simplest thing that people want help with is learning a concept, understanding something that they didn't understand before. This is probably the single biggest reason that my writing has been successful and tends to get a average time on page more than double the industry average. Because when I'm writing content, I approach it like a lesson plan. I think through who's reading this, what do they know, what do they want to learn, and then I try to build a bridge from what they know now to what they want to learn. I want to help them move from A to B in their thinking. And in order to do that, I need to establish context. I need to use one point to build on the next point. And I need to be thinking through the questions that will arise along the way so people don't get lost in the weeds, and also to make sure that I'm not leaving out any steps along the way that will confuse people and make it hard to reach that final destination in their understanding. And while this won't be relevant to everything you write, it's always good to stop and ask yourself throughout the writing process, what might someone who's reading this be looking to learn, and how can I do a better job of explaining the concept? How can I do a better job of thinking through what questions might arise as we go through this piece, making sure I'm answering them along the way? The more you think about this stuff, the better your writing will be, the better reading experience you'll create. And of course, beyond just learning a concept, people often read for the purpose of solving a problem. So they have a specific problem they want to solve. They go to your piece of writing to learn how to solve it. And just like we talked about before, it's important to take them on this journey from A to B. So A would be, I have a problem. B would be, I know exactly how to solve the problem. And the best way to get from A to B is to think through every single granular step that will need to be taken along the way, and any skills or resources that will be needed in order to take those steps. From there, it's pretty simple. It's just a matter of listing out all the steps and including all the resources. And in a similar vein, people often come to a piece of writing in order to learn how to achieve a goal. Once again, we want to map out what actual practical steps need to be taken in order to go from where the reader's at as they're reading the piece to achieving the goal that they want to achieve. And once again, what skills and resources will they need along the way in order to take each one of those steps? So in review, readers read in order to be entertained, be informed, and get help. So the more you can look to entertain, inform, and provide help in your own content, the more valuable it will be to your readers, the better it will perform, and the more it will help you achieve your own goals, whether for your career, for your audience, simply for your own passion projects. Hope this was helpful. Catch you in the next episode.